to Ambassador Hall from St.Kitts-Nevis.
Thank you, Mr. President. Permit me to add the support of St. Kitts and Nevis to the statement enunciated by the very distinguished Minister for the Bahamas on behalf of CARICOM member states. Mr. President, the people of the Bolivarian Republic of Venezuela are our friends and our neighbors. Their shores are washed by the same Caribbean Sea that touches the shores of each of our CARICOM member states. We are deeply troubled that the state of affairs in Venezuela has approached a stage that makes this meeting of consultation of ministers of foreign affairs necessary. Notwithstanding, we are duty-bound to respect the provisions set forth in the OAS Charter, which are very explicit with respect to the constraints to which we are subjected as we seek to fashion a solution. To illustrate, Chapter 1, Article 1 of the OAS Charter is very explicit with respect to these constraints. It states, and I quote, "The Organization of American States has no powers other than those expressly conferred upon it by this charter, none of whose provisions authorizes it to intervene in matters that are within the internal jurisdiction of the member states." Neither should we lose sight of the provisions set forth in Chapter 2, Article 3, Part E, which state an additional constraint on the permissible actions of the OAS. The OAS Charter states that every state has the right to choose, without external interference, its political, economic, and social system, and to organize itself in the way best suited to it, and has the duty to abstain from intervening in the affairs of member states. We are to be reminded the General Assembly is the supreme organ of the Organization of American States. Unless and until the above stated provisions, as expressed in the Charter, are changed, they remain the guiding light that hovers over this body and its policy directives. Today, the Bolivarian Republic of Venezuela stands at the crossroads. In recent months, it has been buffeted on the one hand by open threats of explicit calls for suspension by a date certain. Equally disturbing are recent open declarations that suggest that dialogue or mediation are no longer options to be considered in addressing these issues. These expressed punitive measures and policy pronouncements have not been authorized by the Permanent Council and have been utterly rebuffed. They are considered a direct violation of the principles set forth in the OAS Charter. On the other hand, a more conciliatory approach has emerged. This latter approach recognizes the importance of dialogue and skillful negotiations aimed at reconciling disputes in a spirit of goodwill. The government of St. Kitts-Nevis embraces this latter approach. Today, we reaffirm our firm commitment on the promotion of democracy, human rights, and the rule of law. We call for an immediate cessation of violence and hostilities by all parties. We appeal to all parties to commit to a new process of dialogue and negotiation that leads to building a platform of trust so that the people of Venezuela can unite in overcoming this crisis. St. Kitts-Nevis will continue to monitor these developments closely. We stand ready to lend a helping hand in achieving a positive outcome for the people of Venezuela. I thank you.
Thank you, Ambassador. Now,